Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to the National League. Ramadan Kareem, everyone. For everyone that is fasting, look at Staffy. He just woke up and he's fasting. It's
No, I woke up a while
it's
ago.
tough.
I'm okay.
You woke up a while ago. Yeah, it's sahur.
No, but I keep forgetting to have sahur. I just wake up too late.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
I
ate
had a
enough.
lot of food though, but I slept after Fajr. So we're fasting. So I'm 2 hours away, of course, from breaking my fast. So it's Ramadan, of course. Big up everybody that is here. Staff is still lagging for some whatever reason. I don't know why, but
Am I really lagging?
is he lagging only for me or for everyone?
Oh, I don't know what it is.
I know it's all right, but listen,
Can you guys
big up
hear me at
everybody.
least?
We can hear you perfectly. That's the thing. Yeah, we can hear you perfectly. Big up everybody that is here, of course. Talking about Chelsea buying another youngster, another 17 years old for 10 million pounds. What is going on again? No goalkeeper, as Ben Jacobs reported, of course. Liverpool for the Champions League, of course. Arsenal appointing a new sporting director. Saliba's new contract. Saliba is staying. Arsenal, does that mean that the project keeps going? The project will always keep going. And I think the main topic of today is Manchester United, Ruben Amorim. A lot of people now are saying that he is might get sacked. But is it Europa League or bust? Is it Europa League or bust? We'll talk about that as well. Big up everybody that guys, hit that like button. Let's get to 100 likes right off the bat. Vote and let me know where are you tuning in from, of course. I think we should start with Man United, actually.
I mean, you said that, yeah. So we kind of got it the first time.
We need to start with Man United. We need to start with Manchester United. Biggest club in England at the current moment until Liverpool win the 20th league title, as Man United fans like to say.
They're not bigger than us at the minute. We've got more trophies anyway, even before the league title.
They think so. They think they're bigger than you.
Yeah, but one of the things you're supposed to do when you're dealing with the mentally ill is not feed the delusions. They need to know what is fact and the fact.
I thought we were talking about the game. I didn't think we were going to talk about
We are. We're talking about the game yesterday. We're talking about Ruben Amorim and the tactics and everything. I don't know what to tell you, Staffy, other than like the agendas against some players. The agendas against some players are here. Ruben Amorim cannot fix it at the current moment. He needs an overhaul. I don't know. When you were watching the game yesterday, at the end of the game, you said, "Here we go again." After the last penalty, that's what you said in your watch along. If I'm not mistaken.
You was watching my watch along. Did you?
He said, "Here we go again." At the end, another defeat at home at Old Trafford, and the fear of Old Trafford is gone. I know. I raise my hand. I don't know what the solution is for Man United. Will Man United ever? When Rooney's talking about the club's culture being wrong again, he's talking about that in the studio. I'm not sure. Is it Ruben Amorim? It's not Ruben Amorim. It cannot be Ruben Amorim, man. It cannot be the players only.
No, I don't think it's Ruben Amorim. I mean, you said you don't know, but you also said the correct thing in the beginning. You said the squad needs an overhaul. So you do know. You just think that you don't know. Of course, the squad needs an overhaul. Regardless of who the manager is, regardless of what the tactics are, the squad needs an overhaul. I actually didn't think that yesterday we particularly played that bad. I've actually seen us perform a lot worse this season. I don't think it was one of those games where I'm like, oh my God, we're so shocking today. It was actually one of those where once again, I'm watching the game and I'm like, well, you know what? Yeah, there's a lack of quality around the pitch again. There's a lack of quality in the final third. Bro, we can't even score penalties. Our goalkeeper can't get a hand on one of the penalties. So, yeah, I mean, we can speak about the game in depth, but I feel like the more I watch this team game after game, the one thing that always sticks out to me is that I can't wait to get new players. You know, if you want to talk about the way we defended yesterday, the way we went forward, especially the way we went forward, I feel like that should be a big talking point today. It's like we reached the final third and you just see there's a lack of ideas and a lack of final third quality. And anyone who understands any bit of football would tell you that what all managers always tell you is that their job is to get their team into the final third. And then it's on the players in the final third to have the quality to make something happen. I feel like United just more often than not, they reach the final third and they just don't have the right execution. They don't have the right ideas. We saw a 17-year-old come on yesterday and create 3 big chances for himself. And to put that in context, that's what Højlund did over the last 22 Premier League games. So he did in 52 minutes what Højlund did in 22 games.
See,
Simple
okay,
thing.
so
And
you
that's-
want to tell me that the kid is a better footballer than Højlund?
It's not that he's a better footballer. He made more use of his time. Like, I don't know how good Højlund is. And I think Højlund was better when he first came in. And we still thought he was like, you know what? He's not good enough. He's not ready to lead the line. His game's just significantly regressed. And that's down to a lack of development. I'm not a big fan of the kid. I don't think there's a lot of raw talent that he has, or raw attributes, I should say, that I look at him like, you know what? This is something I want to be patient with. But even so, this kid would be 100% better if he was never thrown into this pressure at 20 years old or 21 years old. I look at him; he doesn't do simple things correct. He can't win the second ball like Chido did. I saw Bassi and Anderson struggle more against a 17-year-old, at least physically, than they did all. I forgot how many minutes Højlund played, but this whole time Højlund was there. Not once did Bassi look uncomfortable. Not once did Anderson look uncomfortable. It is very evidential. Like, you guys watch games, even not necessarily when we play against you guys. Just watch any United game, and none of you guys can tell me that when the defense play against Højlund, do they ever look like they're gonna break a sweat? Do they ever look like they're troubled? Do they ever look like they're worried? And it's a common theme every game. You know, yesterday was unfortunately one of those as well.
I don't know if any of the guys want to chip in for Man United, but I was watching the game yesterday. By the way, there is a stat out there that Xerxes touched the ball 70 times, lost it 29 times, actually. The problem is the agendas. I think all the players are not performing, apart from Bruno Fernandes, who's been having some good moments here and there. But some of the players are actually, Diego Dallo yesterday, every time he went to that left side, he wanted to go again. He wanted to go to his right foot to play again the cross with the right foot. And I'm like, well, yeah, I see what you see now, Staffy. He goes to the right foot. Are these players, number one, I'm just going to say it, and Staffy, the problem is you keep saying that Amorim needs his own players.
No, I didn't say that. I said this.
But he won't, you guys know he won't get his own players. He literally said, we are a sell to buy.
Hold on. I didn't say he
okay,
needs
so what's the solution then? Okay, so let me ask.
He needs a squad overhaul.
Let me
let me repeat what I said. I said, regardless of who the manager is, the squad needs an overhaul, because the quality of some of these players, I don't see the quality of some of these players being that good under another manager. Because the simple things that I believe doesn't have to do with coaching. Yesterday, I thought our build-up was good yesterday. Every time we reached the final third with Xerxes, who low-key played like a lone 10, when he was making that half turn and he's looking in front of him, he sees Højlund making the wrong run. Oftentimes, you try to link him up and he does a stupid back heel where he loses the ball. He did about 3 times in a row. He looks at his wing backs. We don't have wingers because we have suspensions and injuries. So you're playing 2 fullbacks. So they're not really as attacking minded. Even when they get the ball, there's no individual moments one-on-one. Dallo gets the ball, as you said. He does a stupid step over, cuts to his right, and the ball is dead. Mazzarella gets the ball, even though I like him. He's not really that guy who's going to take on a defender one-on-one. We don't have anyone who can create a spark in the final third. A manager can only do so much in terms of tweaking systems and how to get the ball. Yesterday, I saw Bruno play deeper than everyone, and I haven't seen that one being done in a while. We saw Eriksen being introduced. And he was playing like a half winger yesterday, him and Ugarte, every time we got the ball. Our shape looked good when we were building up. We were building up with a midfield 4 that low-key looked like a little bit like a diamond. But every time we got the ball in those areas, Eriksen would put the ball to Dallo, or Ugarte would put the ball to Mazzarella, or even when Ugarte gets the ball in the final third, nothing's going to happen because these players are not equipped to do anything.
But so he's not. Okay, so let's just establish something. It doesn't look like he's getting his own players. He literally said
he doesn't
that
have to, but he can get better players. Dorgu yesterday playing would made us a lot better. And he's not that brilliant. He's just a good player. That's how simple it is that I'm telling you. Like Dorgu, we saw the difference between Dorgu playing 4 games and Dallo playing yesterday in left wing back. Dallo is literally a liability in left wing back, but we have no one else to put, so we put him there. Dorgu, the one thing he would have done is he would have picked up the ball, ran at his defender, went to the byline, and put the ball in the box. Whether it results in a goal or not, that's not his job. He just got in there. These are the simple things that I'm saying. I'm not saying get Ruben Amorim all his players, because I'd be a hypocrite if I said that more. I used to say that the same thing about Ten Hag. No one gets older players. but Manchester United need better players. That's a completely different statement.
But Manchester United are up shit creek without a paddle, really. Your squad is not good enough, and you don't have the money to revamp it in a year or two. You don't have that type of money available. Considering the amount of fucking cost-cutting measures I'm seeing Sir Jim Ratcliffe introduce, you don't have that type of cash available. We were interested in Amorim, and then we done our due diligence and figured out that a squad that is about to win the Premier League, let's just bear that in mind, the squad that's about to win the Premier League, we would have needed to spend £400 million to bring it up to Amorim's level in terms of fitting the system there. And that's a squad that's about to go and win the fucking Premier League. Now, what does that mean for United squad? I have no idea. I have no idea if that means it's going to need like 600 million. Manchester United don't have 100 million at the minute. United are so that it's like you're now starting to pay the price for 10 years of financial mismanagement. And Amorim is the guy that's having to deal with the sins of those previously and the repercussions of the mistakes of those previously. But he's the manager that needed the most wiggle room with it because he wants to bring in his system, which is so different to all the ones that came before. So ultimately, I said it when he took the job, it wasn't the right job to take. I still think it now, just because that club is not ready for him in terms of the way he wants to manage. Manchester United ultimately needs to go back to square one, blow up this squad where possible. You're not going to make much money from it because you've overspent in a lot of areas, and build back up from the ground. Are United going to do that? No, because they should have done it about 4 years ago and they didn't do it then. They should have done it 2 years ago and they didn't do it then. They'll keep kicking the can down the road and eventually it'll completely pass them by. But United, no, I just don't think they can do it. I don't. In the past, they could do it, but they didn't do it correctly.
What do you mean they can do what? They can do what?
They could have rebuilt previously because they had the money, but they did. But they didn't. They wanted to go win now mode, brought in a bunch of older players, thinking that they were ready to compete.
So what do you think they should do?
Literally what I just said. You're gonna have to blow it up. You're gonna have to just accept the fact that you are gonna be fucking mediocre for about 5 years minimum. You are gonna be bang average. You are gonna be a bigger Bournemouth for about 5 years because that football club cannot.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with
that.
I agree with you, but here is the problem with this. Man United are too big of a football club and too big of a brand. No. The brand. I'm not saying the team. I'm saying the brand that makes 800 million in revenue a year. That is too big of a club to stay mediocre. Let me give you another example. For example, Chelsea Football Club, they cannot stay 4 or 5 years outside of the Champions League because a lot of the salaries, the wages, the club's revenue, the exposure, them going to Asia, they cannot stay away from the spotlight for that long because the fan base will stop buying merch. It will hurt the revenue of the football club. But that is the problem. So they need to find a solution.
So
there is no solution. Exactly. That is the point.
That's why I'm asking you guys.
Hold on. But you're asking me an impossible question. There is no solution for United where they stay at the top and rebuild.
I'm not saying the top, but you cannot tell. Okay.
They don't have the facilities to do that.
There is a difference.
I don't think you're understanding what you're saying here.
Can I just tell Tom what I mean? I don't mean staying at the top, like challenging like Liverpool and Arsenal. But be there and thereabout, get 1 year Europa League, for example, get the second year Champions League.
That is not possible. That is not possible.
It's not mediocre stuff. For you now, that is not mediocre.
Wait, hold on, Mo. You just described what we've been over the last 10 years, and a lot of people thought that was mediocre. I actually told them, based on what I've seen over the last 10, 11 years, a couple cups here and there, Champions League appearances every other year, Europa League finals and Europa League wins, people thought that was mediocre for United, and we need to get out of that. Now you're saying, oh, that's what we need to be, at least, because we're too big. And Tom is telling you, actually, they need to accept the fact that they need to be mediocre. So in 5 years, they stop being mediocre, but it's going to pay off for the long run. You're telling us that's impossible, but you're not giving us a realistic solution other than what United have already been over the
football
last few
club,
years. And even that
Manchester
we can't
United-
achieve
But
because
that-
Cam told you we don't even have that money to do what we were doing the last
Manchester
few
United
years.
Football Club is hung up on what it used to be. Hence why anytime you see, you mentioned it at the start, Wayne Rooney was doing the fucking stuff in the studio for the game, and he was sitting there going, "Oh, the mentality's not right." And I guarantee we
Yeah.
hark back to the days of when it was Fergie. They do not have Fergie. They do not have the squads that Sir Alex Ferguson had. They have a squad which, at the start of the season, I said it was a bottom half squad, and I got ridiculed for it. That squad is a bottom half squad. It is vastly overrated, massively overpaid, and United cannot do anything with it because guess what? When you overplay bang average players, you lock yourselves in to these overpaid bang average players because other football clubs aren't stupid. What football club with a fucking brain is touching Rasmus Højlund? What football club with a brain is touching Casemiro? What football club with a brain is touching Joshua Zirkzee? What football club with a brain is touching Lindelof, Maguire? This is what we're on about, Luke Shaw. United are so tied in with stuff they cannot sustain for the level they are at. Manchester United need to accept that they are simply not good enough. They are, at the absolute best, the 9th best squad in the Premier League. That is not a squad which in 2 years' time, top 4 finish. It's not. It's not. That's a club that is not ready for a top 4 finish in 2 years' time. That is a club that needs to go back, go tear everything down, wallpaper down, paint off, go straight down to the bare bones and figure out where they want to go. And they need to figure out if it's under this manager or not. And they need to actually rebuild.
No, but I think they've already figured it out, Tom. Because
they can't do what they... Because the biggest thing United done, the worst mistake United done was buy Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Because it fucked the Oli project up. He couldn't stay because he tried to fucking adapt to Ronaldo, and ultimately top teams in the modern day cannot adapt to Cristiano Ronaldo because it's not sustainable. But that threw the Oli project up in the air. That was fucked. That was the best United were doing. That was fucked. And then they went for Ten Hag, and it all went downhill from there. He spent all the money on Ten Hag players, and they got a manager who isn't Ten Hag and doesn't want to use half the fucking players Ten Hag bought. And we're back at the same stage again and again and again. But simply this time, they do not have the money to bail themselves out of the problem they put themselves in. So how do they get about that? They need to sort out in another way. They need to go.
Some people thought I was joking when I said Ten Hag set us back a few more years. Like, it genuinely wasn't. It wasn't an agenda. It wasn't a joke. These people that say justice for Ten Hag or apologies to Ten Hag, no, you're missing the whole point. It's like we've gotten so abused by Ten Hag and in terms of squad building, and now that we're seeing the I can't even say the gains of it. I'm seeing the returns of it, which is not good at all. People will think, oh yeah, it was just the manager. Yeah, apologize to that. No, most of it was his doing. And whoever the manager that was going to come after Ten Hag anyways was going to have to face the same thing. Maybe it would have been a little bit different if this manager didn't play a 3-in-the-back system that required more of a squad overhaul, but it still would have been an issue. We are, as you said, we have been set back. Fans don't want to accept it. They think it's a matter of, let me just tweet Amorim out and it's going to fix everything again. And it's not going to be that. And that's why I'm not entertaining that conversation.
It's like United fans just think fucking 200 million quid is just suddenly in a fucking pot available for United every window. That's not the case. Manchester United, if it's not this window, it is very soon. They will not have that money. They will not be able.
They don't. He said they don't have any money.
We did like 60 million in interest. We're in 300 million in installation debt. And we're just completely, as a club, we're in 1 billion of debt. Look, people don't understand. They don't comprehend these numbers. And when we talk about, listen, and I'm not sitting here and saying it's always a nice solution to cut people out of their jobs and this and that, especially when people like Luke Shaw and Mount are in this club collecting money. But I try to talk to them about self-sustainability and how much we've been fucked, that they're trying to make this club once again self-sustainable So you know what? This money, this club is making enough money where over the next few years we'll start making enough money again where we can go back and spend the way the fans expect us to spend. They don't want to hear that. They don't want price cuts. They don't want no free lunch at the fucking at the sites or whatever. They don't want all these play. There's nothing that they want. They always think it's just one thing: manager out and it's fixed. There's no manager out, it's fixed. Tom said it perfectly, and I agree with him. And I've been saying the same thing. I'm getting abuse on my channel every day now. I've never experienced it. Feel like a gal now. It's not the manager. I'm sorry. No, I'm in terms of backing the manager. I get abused, bro. It is not a manager fix. Stop coming to me telling me, are you out on the manager? I promise you, is no fix. I said the one thing. I said, if we get rid of the manager, please go get me an inferior coach who's going to play inferior football, because that's what we are good for right now. Go get me a Shandaish. Go get me someone in that caliber. That's what we're at right now.
Mo, you say that, but that's about where United
I'm not
are
joking.
That's about where they are with this current crop of players. I just pulled up the payroll. Casemiro,
but I disagree with you.
On what? What do you disagree on?
I'm going to tell you what I disagree. Do you guys, if we're watching Anthony play football now at Real Betis, isn't that the proof that the problem at the club?
Tells me more about La Liga than anything.
That's fucking La Liga.
Are you serious? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It really does tell me a lot more about
That's what we're saying. That that Anthony playing against Real Madrid and having no fear and playing with freedom and playing close to how he played at Ajax is a problem of La Liga. That is what we're saying. Is that what you guys saying?
Scoring volleys in La Liga, and every time he took a shot in Old Trafford, it was hitting Rose's head.
Mo.
Who are you blaming for that?
Who do you think the problem?
Hold on, Mo. Right, let's be honest. Let's be honest.
I am honest,
and we can just use history. Diego Forlan, underwhelming at Manchester United, goes to La Liga, one of the best strikers. Angel Di Maria, massively underwhelming at Manchester United. Beforehand, was one of the best wingers in La Liga, one of the most important players in that great Real Madrid squad. Iago Aspas, fucking dog shit at Liverpool. Apparently one of the best strikers La Liga's had in the past 20 years. Fucking Joselu won a Champions League with Real Madrid last year as an important piece. In England, he was fucking stoked back.
What are you saying then? So what are you saying then?
La Liga, if a player performs in La Liga, it does not mean they are world beater. And it should also.
I'm not saying he's a world beater. I don't think you understand the point. I don't think he's a world beater.
There's definitely players, by the way, that go the opposite direction. I mean, I'm sure Nietzsche and Eden Hazard spring to mind straight away as having better Premier League careers than they have.
But Eden Hazard was an entirely different case. Of Eden Hazard was fat.
Yeah, but even Kaka,
Odegaard.
Yeah, there's plenty to go both ways.
Odegaard wasn't bad in La Liga. What are you on about?
I don't think he was at the level he's been in at Arsenal, though, has he?
No, obviously, because he was younger then. I'm on about the guys. Look, you're talking about Anthony. Anthony's what, 24, 25? This is a guy who should be in that.
Coutinho went to La Liga.
Yeah,
and
there's definitely enough to throw the argument both ways.
Okay, so hold on. Dan, what is the statement? I want Dan to respond. What is your statement then, Tom? What is your statement?
My statement is Anthony doing well in La Liga does not mean that it's Manchester United squad is good enough. No. The players just perform better in inferior leagues.
Okay. Go ahead, Dan.
I don't know if that's always the case. I think Tom's got a point. I think with Anthony, it's the fact that he'd probably just gone too far one way at Old Trafford that he just couldn't resolve that. I think there's a physicality issue. I think La Liga is definitely a less physical league. I think it probably suits Anthony's style of football a little bit more. I think there's a confidence thing. I think he's got his confidence back because he's in a team that believe in him. They think that he's good enough to play for them, and the fans are getting behind him. I mean, Isco was in a similar situation going there from Real Madrid, and he's rejuvenated his career as well. So it's obviously a good place for people to be at the moment, Betis.
But then that's the point as well, because it's the pressure's difference in the Premier League compared to La Liga. The Premier League is the most watched league in the world. It's talked about everywhere, especially being at a club like United. That pressure is gonna be 10 times more. So that's my main point here. Just because Anthony is doing decently at Betis for a month, that doesn't mean that Manchester United squad that they've got, it's actually a top 4 level squad, and Erik ten Hag didn't ruin it, and that club is really it's not. That squad, regardless of what Anthony is doing, that squad is still not good enough.
No, you're missing the point.
But it is a million times better than it should be in 15th in the Premier League or 14th, wherever it
Yeah,
currently
yeah.
is.
I think it,
I'll be
I
honest,
think you're being I think you're missing the point intentionally, Tom. I think you're
Ruben
missing the point.
Amorim is look, no matter how you dress it up, Ruben Amorim currently is not doing a good enough job, and I think he's admitted that himself. In an interview with Rio Ferdinand I watched the other day, he said, I expected to be doing better than what I'm doing now.
I think Manchester United are underperforming position, but not by the amount that people say. If Manchester
But they're
United
definitely a top half. That squad is good enough to be in the top half of the Premier League.
Disagree.
Who are we better than then, though? That's the thing. Like yesterday, we were playing Fulham. I don't think Fulham were a worse team than us. I think Fulham, as the game went by, the more the game, because we played 120 minutes, the more I was watching the game, the more I was convinced that we are playing the better team, especially with the subs. And I know, listen, it's nothing amazing. In extra time, we're bringing on Heaven. That's our only sub, our only outfielder. They're bringing on Willian and Jimenez to play 30 minutes of extra time. Now, you tell me right now, which sub would you rather be on? Would you rather be bringing on an 18-year-old center back who you just signed in January from Arsenal's academy? Or would you rather bring on Willian with a lot of Premier League experience and Raul Jimenez with a lot of Premier League experience? That's the point that I'm trying to make. The more the game went by, the more possession they kept, the more chances we were creating. Even Ryan Sessegnon, they were bringing on Ryan Sessegnon, and he's working our goalkeeper, and we don't have anything to give him back. We just generally had no answer. We were playing senior footballers yesterday that we just had available. Lindelof played for us yesterday, and I promise you, he does not rate him at all. Like, Lindelof rarely ever plays for us anymore. He just brought him on because he had no other answers. Same for Casemiro. He doesn't rate Casemiro, but you had to bring him on because I had nothing else. The only sub that I would look at, I'd be like, you know what? That's probably a sub that he would have done regardless of who's available, is the Garnacho sub. Even Cheeto. I like Cheeto. I like what I saw from him, but he's 17. I'm bringing on a 17-year-old.
I'm sure he didn't come coaching, relying on him. I'm sure he didn't come to Man United.
Let's break it down now. Let's break it down properly. I wouldn't say it's a yesterday thing. I'd say it's been a problem for Manchester United all season.
Manchester United have been failing under Amorim since he walked through the door. He's got like 2 or 3 big wins, and other than that, it's been below the level he needs to be at.
No, because people are judging that Manchester United squad by the standards that it is not capable to reach. You said that Manchester United squad should be finishing top half. It's good.
What, top 10 in the Prem? Yes, it should be.
I don't think that squad, pound for pound, is a top 10 squad in the Premier League. If I go through it, Liverpool's squad is better. I don't think anyone disagrees. Arsenal's squad is better. Manchester City's squad is better. I'd say
keep
Chelsea's
reminding
squad
people,
is
Tom.
better.
Can I want to say, can I say one statement?
Hold on, I'll say one thing and you continue.
Please.
Literally 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Last season, the underlying metric said that our predicted finish should have been in 15th. This season, we've been around 15th. Which season is true and which season was actually false?
I'm gonna hear just do something. I'm gonna say something in line with Dan. Here is the problem that happened last season. Every time we did shows with Man United fans, you, Tom, Dan, myself, we have been told from Saeed, I think from you, Staffy, from Terry, from other people as well, from Mina, that the way you guys are seeing the player is a product of how Ten Hag has been coaching them. That is not their level. That Ten Hag is a bad coach, and that is why you're saying that. Okay. You said, Staffy, you said that verbatim. You said
so yes and no. And
okay. Let me finish the point. Yeah. My point about this is that this Man United team is not as bad as how they are playing today. They aren't. It might be a product of how badly coached they were under Ten Hag for 3 years. It might be, right? Okay. But the talent of these players, Rasmus Højlund, is not that bad as we see it. I'm going to tell you, he's not. Diogo Dalot is not that bad as we see him. My point is, I'm not
he's
again.
He's not a left winger.
Can I just hold on? Can I just hold on? Don't take my words and say, Mo, you are saying they are top 4 level. No, but I agree with that. They're now 15th. They shouldn't be playing this. By the way, Man United are only 15th, Staffy, because you have some clutch moments. the reality of how you
And
play
we're also
football.
15th because of individual bad moments, Mo. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but Staffy,
I actually don't think as a team collectively we are as bad as last season. Last season, we won more points on individual moments, especially from McTominay, especially from Rashford, the guys that we no longer have to give us these fake 3
by the
points
way,
that we
was
were getting.
McTominay was absolutely ridiculed from like 90% of United fans that he was not suitable for the team, and you've missed
but it's
him
still-
massively.
I mean,
this season.
it still doesn't change the fact then, because at the end of the day, we were robbing points last season. I was going to
Yes.
Brentford and conceding 80
It doesn't
plus
matter if
touches
you're robbing
to my
points,
box.
Staffy. That was pretty much how Ten Hag was setting that team up to go. Was to like smash and grab.
But
Try
there was
and
no
nick points.
sustainability in that. Then that's why we didn't.
No, there
want
isn't.
him,
But there's
because
not
we didn't.
sustainability. There's not sustainability in Amorim right now either.
Okay, but you can't make a direct comparison. That
Yeah, but
comparison was made on you writing
you could
off.
have given David
McTominay's
Moyes the job, and he'd have more sustainability than Amorim right now.
Yes, of course, because he put that squad together for 3 years. That's the
Yeah,
difference.
but with or, no,
I was
no,
judging
with,
him by the
with or,
fact that
no,
he
no,
spent
hang on.
600 million.
With or without.
Just hear me out.
No.
I was
If you've got David Moyes, who's just walked back into an Everton squad that he didn't put together, he's getting far more out of a lesser team at Everton than Amorim is getting out of Manchester United.
No one asked David Moyes to go to Everton and restructure the team.
Yeah,
They
but
didn't
it's
tell
not-
him,
it's
hey,
not
by the
always
way, we're
about
going to take
it's
2
not
or
always
3
about
of your attackers,
restructure,
loan
though,
them
because
out, and give these guys a
rest-
new system mid-season.
Staffy, unless restructure leads to success, which we're not sure with Amorim because of how poor the restructure's been, because he's now placed doubt in a lot of people's minds when a lot of people are very, very confident in him. You have no proof that this restructure is going to work. Maybe
No, but I
you
didn't say
need
it will
restructuring.
work. I'm just saying this is what he was assigned of. David Moyes wasn't assigned a more difficult task than Amorim. Amorim's task was more difficult. That
No,
he said,
David Moyes Everton weren't getting goals. Everton weren't scoring goals.
what
and he's
did
got
David
Everton
Moyes?
scoring
Okay,
goals.
so did David Moyes go into a team and they tell him, by the way, we're gonna take the most the second highest player, second highest paid player in your team, the guy with the most GA over the last few years, even though he's not performing, and we're gonna get rid of him. We're gonna take Anthony, who we just signed less than 2 years ago, and he's on 200K, and we're gonna get rid of him. We're gonna loan out these players in an attack that's already slim because we loaned out Sancho in the summer and we didn't replace Martial. And we're going to ask you to teach them a new formation mid-season with no backing other than Dorgu. And we're going to look at that and say, yeah, that's an easy task. I'd rather go to Everton, to a team that's just underperforming under Sean Dyche and has a lot more senior players that know their role, that know the system, that actually get those fans behind them in Goodison Park, and just be like, yo, express yourselves a little bit better. Let's get a manager bounce right now and score a few goals, and that's going to be it. And that's what happened exactly at Everton. What happened at Everton wasn't rocket science. They're trying to do rocket science on Old Trafford right now. That's the difference.
Yes, but quality-wise, Everton haven't got a better squad than Manchester United. No one would have said that at the beginning.
For the football that they're trying to play, yeah, it's not complicated. No one went to Everton and said, hey, I'm going to teach you to play a new system today.
Ruben Amorim has come in with a system already set up in his mind that he was going to get this United team to play. He's not been pragmatic about who he's got available to him at the time. He's trying to play a system.
That's poor planning, then. That's what I agree with you. But that's poor planning. That should have never happened mid-season.
Yes, but Ruben Amorim is also in a position to adapt to make sure that he saves his job. He doesn't
so why would you bring it mid-season if you want to adapt?
But then you're going to start the same cycle, which is the reason why United got rid of the last manager, which is the manager comes in. I can't
play my system, so
I'm
Ruben
Amorim he doesn't play the system.
Okay, so by the time we get to the summer, there's a high chance that Ruben Amorim isn't in a job because he didn't even just get himself into a position to start working on something new to rebuild in the summer.
But that would be on Ineos again. That is my point. Because
European qualification
one at a time. Dan ask the question, and then we can answer. Dan is asking questions. Dan is not putting statements.
Go on, Tom, speak, because Tom's been trying to speak for ages. So you might.
Go ahead, Tom. What Amorim is doing is just showing the world the level of this United squad in this system. If he played a 4-3-3 mid-block defensive football, and United finished 8th again, you'd get to the summer, and then they go, well, you made such and such work. Do it again. No, we can't play a back three. No, you're making them work. You made them work last time. And then he gets shoehorned into playing a system that he doesn't want to play. And you're right back at step one that you were at with Ten Hag, which is the whole reason why you got rid of Ten Hag. What Amorim is doing is airing out all the dirty laundries to the world and going, barely any of these players are useful. Barely any of these players are good enough. This squad is this level.
Fantastic. Great. Let me now, before Dan speaks, But he does this, Tom, and then he goes to the media and say, by the way, we have no money, by the way, we are a sell to buy. So what is the message that he's sending to the people? If he's airing out the laundry and saying that they can't play the system, but goes in the same day, right, and tell the people, and tell the press, by the way, we're not going to rebuild the squad because I have no money. So what is he telling? I'm accepting failure? Is that because that's how I interpret this?
No.
I'm accepting failure. These
No.
players cannot play my system, and I don't have the money to change them. So, okay, we're fucked. We're doomed. Okay,
Yeah,
there we go.
instead of trying something different, he's literally going, I can't do this without having better tools at my disposal. He is
And I don't
fully
have the
What is
money.
he
using
going to do
tools.
different?
Dan,
We're
hold
back
on,
to
hold
this
on,
again.
Dan.
What is he
And
going
then
to
he's
do?
adding, hold on, Staffy, Dan, and then he's adding, and we don't have the money to bring me more tools.
Yeah, so he's making it look
Basically.
as if it's not his fault, it's not his problem. He's protecting his own image, which is what most people would try to do if they found themselves like in that position where he's drowning.
So what do you want him to
Glasner
do then?
walked into
That's what I'm
Crystal
not
Palace.
understanding.
I literally went to Roy Hodgson's last game last season. Palace were diabolical. They're all over the place. Within a couple of weeks, Glasner had transformed everything at Palace with a team arguably worse than what Manchester United have. In a similar system to what
That same
Amorim
team
tried
put
to
4
install.
past us, but yeah.
Yes, but what Glasner's done at Palace has been better, arguably, than what Amorim has done.
But
And
you're
he
back
did
to
it
the
in
same point again, which Tom said. You are overrating this team because you
No,
just said
I'm
this
not
team.
overrating this
You
team.
think that team is not better than United?
This
Yet that
team,
team has
if
beaten us
we're
4
being-
games in a row.
If,
All
if
right,
we're being
you can
completely
either let me
honest,
speak or not. But
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 Dan,
then I'm trying to
genuine-
remind you of the
genuine
point.
question.
Well,
Yeah,
Tom,
okay.
just give me a second. Give me.
this before the season started, there isn't one person that would have said, and even in January, I think most people would have said Palace have a worse team than Manchester United and Everton do.
Everton, yes.
And-
Palace, no.
Well, I think most people would have said Palace have a worse team on the back of losing Elise. They have a worse team. Manchester United have spent millions in the wrong areas, and there is years of mismanagement. There's no doubt about that. But they still have players that are capable of doing better than what they are currently doing. And under a different manager, I think you'd be getting better results. I think since Amorim's walked through the door, I think he's been failing. I mean, I'm so shocked, but I do think he's been awful. Absolutely awful. You would have got, I guarantee this right now. I guarantee you keep Van Nistelrooy to the end of the season. I think he would have done better.
I don't
But
disagree.
this is what I
that
just said. I
Amorim's
said you
results
should have
haven't
kept an
been good.
inferior manager. You actually just agreed with me. That was my whole point.
Staffy, I'm not disagreeing with you in some things, but I just think that Ruben Amorim is having an absolute nightmare at Manchester United.
Yes, I agree. I think the thing we're disagreeing on is who are we blaming? Because I
Well,
think
no, I think
you're
there's
somewhat
multiple
letting some of these
people
players
to
get
blame.
away with it. And that's what I
Well,
don't
you
like.
can blame the players because ultimately they're not being good enough, but I think they are throwing the manager under the bus. I don't think they like him. I think the manager ultimately is not doing well enough. And I think you have to blame how the club's been ran for the last 10 to 15 years.
I agree with that. I just
Can
don't
I
think
do
it's a
this?
manager thing.
But-
That's all I'm
Can I-
trying to say here.
But
Like,
can I
if
do
you,
that?
if you
Put it on the
change your manager, you will get better results. There are
But
managers out there who would
but is
do a
it better
better
for the
job
long
than
term?
Amorim.
But is
It
it
doesn't-
better for
Tom,
the long
question,
term of the
Tom,
football club?
It doesn't matter about the long term
Of course
for
it
Manchester
matters.
United
Dan.
right now. The present
Dan,
is
it
so...
does.
No, hang on. The
This
present is
statement is great. Go
the
ahead, say that
present
statement.
is so drastically bad, it's got to the point where it needs to be addressed, as well as in the background, people like who's coming, Staffy, the guy from Chelsea, Christoph, can't remember his
Vivell?
surname. Yeah, Vivell. People like that are being brought into the background that in the next 5 to 10 years, they will do their job and you'll be in a better position. But the right now has got so drastically bad that also has to be addressed, even if it only fixes it for the next 1 to 2 years. Because being in this situation for any longer than you need to be will only damage the future even more.
I agree
think
with
the
this
future was
statement.
already
It's fantastic
damaged then.
statement.
I think
Staffy,
I agree with what you're saying, but I
it
think
is
the future was
even
already
more
there.
damaged now than when the day Ten Hag left. Even more damaged.
The
I don't know,
future is
man.
more damage. Yes, I agree.
I don't know. I don't know. I think, listen,
No,
No,
As
but
Tom
we
said,
know,
it
Staffy.
is.
But we know based on what Amorim is saying. We know, you know why
Yeah, but-
we know that the future is not looking good because
But
of
you're
what
talking about the
he's
money
telling us.
aspect, Mo. But you're talking about the money
not
aspect.
only no. Both. He's saying the football is not good, right? The football is not good. Some of the players are not actually able to perform the level he thinks they should or the way he wants them to perform. And at the same time, he's saying Okay, you know what? I turned to Amorim. What about the future, Amorim? Would you be able to get the players that are good enough to do your system? He's like, no, and that also is not a reality. So he's basically saying the present is shit and the future is not guaranteed because I have no money.
Yeah, but okay, so the future is not guaranteed because of the money, Mo. And I'm not gonna lie to you.
And-
that is
and-
something that I don't know what we could do about that. I think the easier fix is talking about the football. Is if you say if
I
you
know the
replace
fix.
this with
Yeah,
this,
I
in
know the
terms of
fix.
football,
I know the
Staffy.
fix. I know the fix. I said it many times. And I'm not gonna say that because I know that you get upset, but I get what Dan is saying. Fix the
don't get
present.
upset, bro. I
Hold
don't own
on,
the club. I
hold
couldn't give
on,
a shit.
hold on, because I agree with that. Fix a little bit of the present now, the 1 or 2 years, for you
How
at
so?
least. My Dan said there are coaches now that will be able to get something
All right,
better
so go
out
get
of
me
these
Sean
players.
Dyche, like I said, or go back get Vinicius.
Whoever,
want an
I don't
inferior
know.
coach.
Not Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche
I
is not
want
going
an
to make this.
inferior coach. That's what I want. No more project coaches.
So okay, forget the project coaches. What the point is, you need to fix the present a little bit for you to be able to at least raise the value of these players, for you to get an Amorim later or an Amorim ilk later, and these players
What
can
do you
be
mean?
sold.
Wait, hold on. See, this is when I need to call you out. Anthony goes on loan. He performs well. And instead of you saying, good job, Ineos, you actually
Very
are
good.
making
It's
some of
very
that money,
good.
that value back.
Yeah.
You're saying, oh, look, it looks bad at United now because he was struggling there. It's like it's a lose-lose situation. Rashford right now, if he does anything good with Villa, you know what everyone's going to say? Everyone's going to make fun
Why
of
did
United.
loan him
Instead of
out?
saying, you know what, that's a good enough loan. Now they can sell him over the summer, get 40 to 50 million for him. And there you go. That's something they can use for a rebuild. At the end of the day, it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, but you can't
I'd
loan
rather
all your
lose-
players. You cannot loan all your players. That doesn't work. You cannot loan.
It's only
You
two
cannot
players.
loan all the
we didn't know
players.
that, bro.
Yeah, but you need
These
the
are
rest.
only two players.
No,
Plus
so
Sancho,
do
obviously.
you need to loan Rasmus? Do you need to loan Garnacho? Do you need to loan Xerxes to play? Do you need to loan Dallo? Do you
No,
need,
I think-
how many? Do you need to loan Onana? Because these players are under contract, as Tom said. You can't just
Don't
let
even get
him
me started
go.
on Nana because I should fly over to Egypt right now and punch you because you and your club did that to us. He's the only one that I have no excuse for other than him being a prick.
Actually, no. You guys, that's what people don't understand. Man United as an institution, as a football club, that's what people don't understand. Ruin players. Rasmus, so we did this. Did Atalanta do this to you with Rasmus? Did Bologna do this?
Onana's a
Hold
different-
on.
he's an exception.
Did Bologna and Thiago Motta did this for Xerxes as well, losing
No,
the
I
ball
didn't
that
say-
minute?
I didn't say
Okay. The problem is now we're talking about every single player that goes to United goes back with it. Ajax do this for Anthony. It's every player now at Man United that goes backwards. And as Dan says, they need to be resolved today now. You need to find a way to make these players at least perform not 15th to get some of the money back at least. Rasmus
when they
Højlund
were
is
in
not
eighth,
worth
it wasn't
20
any
million in the
better, I'll be
market.
honest. When
It
they
was
were
much
eighth, it
better
wasn't
than this. It was much better.
When they were
Let me do
eighth,
this.
players were much better. You wasn't talking about them the way you are. We were talking about Rashford being a
But-
flop. We were talking about Anthony being a flop. We were talking about all these players not being good enough. I understand being eighth is better than
not
15th. I'm
Why is
comparing
Tom
it.
so why Tom so irritated? And why are you irritated?
He keeps balling his fists.
Yeah, he's so
I-
irritated, and I don't understand.
I just don't get why you'd want to. So the plan would be sack Amorim now. Fuck him off.
Yes.
He's not doing good enough.
Mm,
Go and bring in. We'll say for argument's sake, I know he's at Leicester, but a Van Nistelrooy type manager. You bring this
Whatever.
Van Nistelrooy in, and he gets you up to probably about 12th. That's about where United can finish this season. You finish 12th, and then what do you do in the summer? You go and buy players. You go and spend 100 million. Go and buy some players, but you're still keeping this old manager, and he wants to play this counter-attack, deep. For lack of a better term, shitty football, which is what Ten Hag football was described as. You go and play more Ten Hag ball for another year. You finish 7th. Get a bit of luck. Get this, that, the other. You finish 7th. You get a Conference League spot at best. More likely though, you'll finish 8th or 9th. There we go. And then that guy's contract comes to an end. But you look at the squad. You've still got the likes of Mason Mount tied down at the club. Just saying, what would it be? It'd be 2027. Who's still tied down till 2027? So you'd have Fernandes, you'd have Mount, you'd have De Ligt, you'd have Mazraoui, you'd have Martinez, Onana, Ugarte, Yoro, Xerxes, Dallo, Højlund. Now, how many of them are going to be useful if they've not been sold already? How many of them are going to be useful? Still probably not a lot. That squad still probably isn't good enough. So then what do? Are we at the point where we can bring in the Amorim level manager yet? Probably not. No, we're still not where we want to be. So let's do another year or two. And then you start buying players. Bear in mind, all the players that you bought in this time, they've not been playing the football that the new manager's going to want to play. They've been playing 4-4-2 low block. So they're now used to playing the 4-4-2 low block in the Premier League. Let's say 3.5 years down the line, the new manager comes in, and all he's doing is inheriting a squad of players that don't fit what he wants to do. The smart thing to do is take the rough time as it is, understand that you put the manager in a bad situation, but let him teach the players the way he wants to play, rather than just doing the same thing that we're doing now with Amorim. 3.5 years and 400 million quid later, again. You cannot keep doing... It's insanity to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting it to change. This is how United ended up here. They need to do something different than what they've been doing the last couple of years. That's the point that I don't get. I understand that right now Manchester United being 15th is really not good for the football club. But Manchester United don't have a much higher ceiling than that. I'll be entirely honest, they don't. There
It's
is
not scratching my plans.
Can I do
like it's not worth it.
Let me do this super chat. Patience, it worked versus Casa Pia and Estoril Amorim in. I don't know what that means. Casa.
He's mocking it because he wants Amorim out. I told him.
Yeah, he wants Amorim. Is that a Chelsea fan?
It's Mason Mount.
No, he's a United fan.
United fan.
I told him I can't take him seriously until he changes his AV. Anyone with the name English talent with Mason Mount on it that has a football opinion like that, I just can't take it that seriously.
United couldn't even dominate Europa League, by the way. The one win came with a great Jose Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, Oli Erik ten Hag all failed to win a second-tier competition.
Wait, stop there. So he acknowledges that this has been an issue for as long as all these managers that he just named. Yet he's advocating every year on YouTube. You'll see this guy on Terry's channel, on your channel, Mo, on my channel. All he thinks the fix is just get the manager out. And he just debunked himself right now. You just literally just debunked yourself. We haven't dominated Europa League under all these managers, and that's a second-tier European competition. Yet you think, let's just sack the manager because that's the only fix. Khalas. Okay, man.
PD is saying La Liga being inferior to the Prem is laughable. See the record between Spanish and English teams in Europe over the last 10-15 years and try and explain it then. You're muted. You muted yourself.
The very best of Spanish football across the last 20 years has beaten, more often than not, the very best of English football. But as an overall quality of league, due to the sheer amount of money put into the Premier League, I think the overall quality of the Premier League is higher than La Liga. Am I saying the best is equal to the best? No. But am I saying if I took 15th from the Premier League and 15th from La Liga, which is... In fact, no, because that's United aren't a great fucking representation. We'll do 13. 13.
Let me ask you something. If you get if you get Fulham from the Premier League and they play in La Liga, where would you finish?
Who finishes ninth?
I don't know who finishes.
I'd say 5th or 6th.
They'll be in like in a Europa League spot.
So they're about the same, if not better, like by like 2 positions.
I'd say that.
Seville, where is Seville? Seville are currently like 7th.
By the way, Fulham are only 2 points behind top 4. By the way, this season's positions in the league is not a representation, actually, because all of them are in the same pool, actually.
It's still quite tight, but I'm
it is very tight, yeah.
If I can... Where would Getafe finish in the Premier League?
Relegated.
They're currently 14th in La Liga.
Yeah, they'd get relegated in the Premier League.
Where would Osasuna finish in the Premier League?
Relegated.
I don't watch La Liga enough to say that, to be honest.
They would. They'd get relegated. Bottom half, I would say it's drastically bad from about sort of like 12th in La Liga down to the bottom.
Where would Rayo Vallecano finish?
Yeah, but I think you actually missed the point. The problem is...
we've seen Forest go from the relegation battle to being top 4 a season later.
But I'm gonna tell you guys one. I'm gonna tell you guys one thing. I'm gonna say Anthony and McTominay as example. The problem is that Man United, these guys look like amateur footballers, like Sunday league players. Like Anthony literally couldn't pass, couldn't dribble, couldn't receive.
He missed an open goal in his last game for a small. Literally an open goal.
Hold on. And I'm not saying he is going to be Ozil at Real Betis, but he's playing football at a decent level that is respectful, a professional football player. McTominay, Antonio Conte took the guy. He's like, what are you good at? You run around, you do this. He literally installed in the guy that, listen, we're here to win the league. This is the way we play football. This is Antonio Conte. He did that for Alonso, that he came from Fiorentina at Chelsea. Alonso came from Fiorentina, who is a backup to someone called Vargas, and Antonio Conte right away made him Premier League winner. Just right away. My point about this is that I'm not saying that McTominay now is Zinedine Zidane, right? But the way the culture of the football club, the way that people keep going backwards at United is something that needs to be addressed today. Because
Okay,
everyone...
Mo, let me ask you something. With the performance that McTominay did this season at Napoli, which, by the way, I think he still has less goals than last season at United. So he had more goals for us last season.
Yes.
With this performance that he had, would McTominay get in any top 4 team this season? Tom, would he get in the Liverpool team now?
No,
based on what he's doing
I'm
now?
all right. I'm all right.
All right. Would he get in Arsenal, Mo? Would he get
No,
in
then-
City, Mo?
Depending, if you talk about
I'll do
Antonio
that.
Conte, I'm going to tell you what, McTominay this season, the games I watched for Napoli, and I can't sit here and claim that I watched all the games, has been at least consistent in the performances that Antonio Conte knew exactly what to get out of him, like he did with a lot of the Chelsea players that he
Ole
got
did
back
the
in the
same
day.
thing with him. Ole got the best out of McTominay, and it only led us to what? Being second when we weren't even contenders.
So the problem goes to the club. It's not the player. Because you cannot tell me that McTominay, when Alex Ferguson had him, I saw McTominay hide.
I mean, Sir Alex, you mean Ole?
No, I don't think
So
Sir
the-
Alex happened.
No, Sir Alex isn't he the youngster that
No.
and Sir Alex
No.
Ferguson's
No.
Debuted under Mourinho. How old
Yeah.
do you
Okay,
think he
okay.
is, Mo? He's very young still.
he's very okay. My thing about it is that
Sorry,
he's not
did
a
you think
bad
McTominay played
footballer.
under Fergie?
No,
Yeah,
no.
he got
He's
McTominay under Fergie.
guys. Who scouted McTominay when he was a youngster? I don't know.
I
Is
don't
it
know.
Royce?
Sir Alex knew of him because
Exactly,
he was
that's
a
the
kid
whole
in our
point.
academy.
Yes.
Like he was literally like this tall when
Okay,
when
so
Sir
he
Alex
was very
arrived.
young.
He was
No,
a
maybe
baby.
okay. I didn't know. My point about this is that he looks like a footballer now that can be used in like a top 5 team in England. I'm telling you, a top 5, top 6. He can be used in Aston Villa. He can be used in Arsenal, for example. I'm not saying he's gonna come in and be a world beater. The problem is the way he looked at Man United. He didn't look like a football player at all. Under Ten Hag at all, Staffy. He used to hide. He never
That's
asked
why
for the
under
ball.
Ten Hag, I wanted him to be moved on, Mo, because when we wanted to play a little bit more of a possession style football, he just wasn't really that. He was much better in a transitional team under Ole. He was really good under Ole. I was watching comps the other day. The amount of goals this guy was scoring while actually being a contributor to the midfield was good. This whole thing, like, I get it. United have been toxic lately, and I'm not even saying anything different. But sometimes you just need to be the right fit in the right team. United haven't been a right fit for anyone over the last 2 years. and
There's
it's been
only
very
one.
obvious.
There's only 2 players that I've seen that called right fit. Is Amad Diallo and Bruno Fernandes. Nobody.
No, even Bruno doesn't get that. He's getting ex-legends trying to fight him.
But even over the past 5, 6 years at Man United, I haven't seen one player that I can call a little bit successful.
Since Ten Hag's first
Amad
season,
Diallo.
yes. That was the last time we had a happy season.
Bruno Fernandes is the only guy. Even Amad Diallo, unfortunately, he got injured. The only guys. Let me do this rest of the super chats. 3 months, no identity. Changing formation isn't an identity. Still can press, can't create, can defend, can't score. We must not forget the 2-2 win versus Liverpool. That is about Ruben Amorim. Listen, by the way, I've seen now more voices saying that Amorim should get sacked from the Man United fan base. That I believe it's only going to increase if he keeps the same results.
I mean, it's going to be
Are-
bad, to be fair, if we lose this Thursday. This Thursday is really big.
Who do you play?
We're in the Europa League. So it's like if
No,
you get a...
I
Have
don't
you
think
seen,
it-
have you seen,
That's
Staffy,
okay.
have you seen the news? Cheeto can't play.
Cheeto?
Yeah, Obi
Can I-
Martin can't play.
Why not?
And he didn't register him for the Europa League, so you could have to play Hoyland and Six.
let me ask.
New
Staffy,
York
do you know
Knicks,
this?
I'll see you on Thursday.
What was it? Are United still getting a new stadium? I don't know. I don't know the answer, but big up SDFC. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
the
they
stadium is still going through.
The
Guys, we
project
have-
got approved by the government.
Yes,
or something
yes.
last
Guys, we
month.
almost have 500 people here, and we only are on 140 likes. Hit that like button, people. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much. I know Tom has to go now. Big up, Tom. Big up.
everyone.
We'll see you, Tom. Big up. Should we make this 3 or just keep it like this?
Yeah, make it 3. It looks a little bit awkward. There we
like
go.
this.
Oh my, our
It's
faces
good.
is a lot bigger.
Yeah, looking at beautiful faces. It's fantastic.
Yes.
The Kai, wait, we are talking about Chelsea in a bit. Would Amorim be better if he joined Chelsea? A fantastic segue, Dakai, because now
I
you're
think so,
Chelsea
yeah.
foot.
Let
Really?
Dan answer it. Yeah, I want to hear Dan's answer.
Probably.
After bashing Amorim for an hour.
Now he's gonna be
No,
like,
look.
"Oh, baby."
No.
Love-
I think he
love that,
probably.
love.
I think he probably would have been. I think Chelsea's. I can see a back three in Chelsea's squad probably easier than I can see in Manchester United's. But saying that, I thought I could see a back three in United's within reason that would probably just get till the end of the season. But from what I've seen at Amorim, I don't think it would be that much different. Do I think he'd be doing a better job than Maresca? I don't know if he would be. And we're talking about Amorim having a way
squad
better
would fit
pedigree
him.
than Maresca.
You can't be serious.
I think your squad
Okay,
would fit
okay,
him.
hold on. Okay, let me put that. So Dan said that he doesn't think that Amorim will be doing better job. Is that because what you saw at Man United from him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Massively, because if before Amorim got the Manchester United job, I would have taken him over Maresca every day of the week. I would have thought he would have been a much better.
Me too.
I've been really disappointed with Amorim at Manchester United. Really.
Can I answer you when you're done, Dan?
Go on, Staffy. Yeah.
Okay, how much do you rate the Chelsea squad versus the United squad?
I don't know. I don't know how I can. What do you want? Numbers or?
So are you better than us
Yes.
by a lot or by just a little bit, or what do you think?
By a fair amount.
Okay, so the reason I asked
it's not drastic, but I don't think the difference is where it is now in the table. I don't think you're
okay. That's fair
15th.
enough. Yeah, that's fair
I think
enough. The reason
Chelsea are probably around fourth, fifth in my eyes.
But there
in
are
terms of
players.
squad.
The problem is, I'm not connect before you talk, Stuffy. I want to clarify this. Even though Chelsea are fourth or fifth on the table and Man United are 15th, there are players from the Man United squad that would start for Chelsea today.
Yeah,
but there would be more Chelsea players that would start for us today,
Yeah,
which is the whole reason I'm
shouldn't.
asking.
But
you.
that shouldn't be the case between 15th, which is it's actually strengthening Dan's point, and 5th. If you're looking at a team that is 15th and 5th, there should be 0 players from that 15th team to start at the 5th, especially with
Okay,
how
so
the team
I
is
get what you
doing
mean.
bad.
I
You
get
get
what
my
mean.
point, right? Like
yeah, I
there
get
should
your
be
point.
0 players from Ipswich to start for Chelsea, or you get my point.
But probably
Yeah.
the
But
left would start. I know what you mean. But and I want you
Yes.
actually to tell me who do you think would start in a second. But I just want to clarify the reason I asked this question. The reason I asked this question
14th,
is
fine.
because if Dan rated Amorim before he took the United job, but he didn't rate the United squad better than the Chelsea squad, I think it would be a little bit illogical to say that, oh, well, now I don't really rate Amorim because he took on a squad that I didn't rate that high, thinking now if he comes to my squad, who I think is better than that squad, wouldn't do a job. Because I'll tell you this, I think if Amorim, I don't know if you guys were actually linked with him, but if he took over the Chelsea job in the summer, I think he'd 100% be doing a better job. And we wouldn't be talking about him right now as we are because we saw what happened at United. You know what I'm saying? I'm blaming more of United than the manager. That's the point that I'm
but
trying to
he's
make.
still been really bad. He's been really bad at Man United.
I mean, the results are
think,
shocking. I can't really disagree with you.
I think there are a couple of players that fall into a back three at Chelsea easy, and I think that system is something that's been at Chelsea for a while in terms of players academy. These players would have played back threes. We've seen this team under Tuchel playing a back three, so not that long ago. But I still think Amorim has done really, really poorly, and I wouldn't take him at Chelsea right now. I think he needs to go prove himself either at Manchester United or if he moves on to another job. He's got a lot of work to do. I think he's really damaged his reputation.
He'd have a great double pivot in your team, especially with Caicedo being in that midfield. He'd be using Palmer in the 10, in one of those 10s. He'd have Sancho. He'd have Cucurella that would slot perfectly in one of those back three, like we had Lissandro progressing the ball. Wingbacks, I mean, you do have very decent wingers. I think he'd do a lot better than with you guys than he did with us. Your squad was always meant to be molded better in the summer for which manager comes in because you had so much raw talent. And you actually, don't forget, you trimmed down the squad on purpose. I think if he was there, maybe he would have kept someone like Felix, who hasn't been tearing down trees, don't get me wrong, but he would have been there. what's the guy? Renat,
I
not
think
Renato
I think
Vieira. What's,
Nkunku would be doing a lot better under Amorim.
Nkunku?
But
There you go. I
there's
almost forgot
I
about him.
think there are players at Chelsea that fit Amorim's system with the double 10 and the pivot that he has in midfield. I do think there is a systematic
Sancho in
fit
one of the
between.
tens, Madueke
Yeah,
on
I
wing back.
do. I hear what you're saying, but as much as the system might work, what I've seen from him as a manager hasn't been acceptable on and off the pitch. I really think he's failed.
Of course, because the results are not there. That at the end
Yeah,
of the
but
day, he will
he
look
was
at results
happy.
before
He
they
was
see
happy,
anything.
Staffy. But even before the results were, I mean, the results were never great, but he was happy to throw Manchester United players under the bus very early on. And I think by doing that, he lost the dressing room instantly.
I don't think he's lost the dressing room.
Yeah, I think he has. I don't think he's got the dressing room because I think the results are that bad. I don't think he ever got the dressing room.
I'm seeing the reason I'm saying that I'm seeing players not yesterday, the game before. They're celebrating tackles, they're fist bumping, they're chesting each other every time they win the ball, every time they do something correct on the pitch. That doesn't give me a sign of a team that is. It's not like what Ten Hag's last days, because like even Varane came out and said, I was actually surprised that after I left they kept Ten Hag because he was distant from his players. I don't think that's the case with them. I think there's a huge lack of confidence with these players. I do think that they should be performing a little bit better. I don't think the gap between where they are and where they should be is as big as you guys think. Because I already got my reality check early in the season when I saw basic footballing ability not being applied by some of these players. Like application was just not there. I know that these players are actually, yes, last season I thought was more fake than not. But back to the point, because I'm not trying to go back to United. I do think that Amorim would do a lot better with this Chelsea team. You do have a lot more talent than us. Would he be winning the league or competing for the league? I don't
You
think so,
think if Amorim had this Chelsea team, they would have been third, for example, ahead of Nottingham Forest, or second ahead of Arsenal?
I don't think they would have had the drop off that they had since those 5 wins in a row that they had.
I don't think there's any evidence to suggest that drop off wouldn't have come, because
there is evidence, of course, to suggest that. You can look at what he did with a half decent team in Sporting.
No,
why are we using the United example more?
Because what's happening at Sporting, it obviously hasn't helped him at Manchester United at all. Because I genuinely, I think he's out of his depth in the Premier League.
But I didn't say that then. I didn't say that was meant to help him. I'm telling you, if we're gonna judge him, give him a fair judgment, look at the squad that he built in Sporting. Don't forget, when he left Sporting, they were sitting on top of the Champions League group. Why are we forgetting this? Like he was sitting on top of the Champions League group.
Fair enough. They were, and I think actually after a few
and look
years
at the drop
of work,
off since they left, by the way.
Yeah, I know. But he had a really, really confident Sporting side that were good. Look, they weren't. Let's not dress this up a lot. Like they weren't playing City off the park. They got a couple of penalties.
No, of course, I know.
Obviously, one goal was a bit of a counter attack with Gyökeres, but they ultimately were thriving and they were going into that competition confident because of what was happening week in, week out. But right now, I haven't seen enough from Amorim to suggest that he wouldn't have dropped in form at Chelsea. He might not have even had the form that Maresca had at the beginning of the season, because ultimately his system is a system that was worked out in the Premier League under Conte. Like that system was there under Conte. Nuno's used it briefly at times this season. I'm trying to think of other managers that have got that. That is a system that is very well known in the Prem, and managers know exactly how to set up and how to stifle it. And I don't think Amorim has an answer for it, much as I don't think Maresca has an answer for what's been thrown at him currently. I think managers that are able to be a little bit more flexible and adjust are going to be in better positions going forward in the Prem. Just because only having one tactic, I think, is an issue, and I think that's where Amorim is right now.
He definitely has more than one tactic. But
I wanna go back to Chelsea, to be honest, and speak about the 17 years old. It's a here we go from Fabrizio.
Who?
It's astonishing. See, Dan, it's the whole point. Then it's him saying who.
Yeah, what is
here we
name?
go for who? For Chelsea?
I don't know, bro. I don't
saw
know
his name.
name.
Yeah, I'll be real. I barely pay attention. I saw his name, was like, cool. Just we're probably never going to see him if we do. Fair enough. He might be like a left back or something.
Centre back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in center left. No. He's a left back. I think. I'm finding the news actually right there.
It's like Denner. Denner might be it actually. Denner. I was thinking Brenner, but I think that's an old Brazilian centre back.
Brazilian left back.
Yeah,
That's what is
Denner.
going on. Yeah. The thing about it is that Tenner, yes, he's 17 years old, 10 million euros, not 10 million pounds. The
Costa
thing about
tenner.
it is that day, Costa tenner. Tenner, Costa tenner. Thing about Chelsea is that we haven't spoken in depth about. Okay, so the protest happened. After the protest, the board comes up and Ben Jacobs and other journalists brief the people that Chelsea are not in for a goalkeeper next season. We're just going to continue with what is going on at Chelsea. If you look at that, I am like, why? Why are you saying that today, though? I don't understand. Why now? Why not in the summer? Why today is that being briefed? I don't get it. Is that to spite the fan? It's just, I don't get it, bro.
Yeah, I obviously Todd Bowley did a press conference as well to just kind of address everything that's going on at a football business summit. And some of the things he said, I mean, he's been pretty like obviously on that sort of pathway since he walked through the door. But some things he says, I was pretty astounded at it, the way he sort of has belief in some things that have clearly shown very little progress so far. So yeah, I really don't know with Chelsea and the PR right now. I think they're sort of at war with each other, the fans and the owners, in a way, and they're just going to kind of come out to just protect each other, I think.
Are we expecting? Okay, so all of us, a lot of people, guys, can we get to 200 likes before I make that next point, guys? We're very close to 200 likes. Are we saying that Chelsea next season gonna challenge for the league or should be one of the contenders or no?
For what do you mean, to win the Champions League?
No, the league.
Oh,
League.
no.
No. You're
Not
still
unless,
gonna be
unless the spending in the summer is drastic. If we go in with the current squad and add, we get Petrovic back and maybe add a striker, no, that's not enough.
So you add a striker, you get Petrovic back, maybe you add a centre back or something. So what do you need for Chelsea? You need to be able to challenge. Also, the question will be, will you be able
mentality shift at the club, first of all, because I think from the sporting direction of the club is an issue. I think the manager is an issue who's been obviously chosen by the sporting directors.
If the manager is a problem, that is the biggest problem.
The manager is an issue, though, isn't he? This manager
is
currently not doing well enough at Chelsea. He's not, and he hasn't probably given Chelsea fans enough belief in him that he is going to take Chelsea to win something other than the Conference League, which has pretty much been handed to him. I was looking at it last year and I was sort of thinking to myself, I really didn't like Poch last year, but there's a real chance that Pochettino will end up having a better season than Maresca just by getting to a League Cup final and a FA Cup semi-final and turning the season around as he did. I don't think there's anything worse as a manager for the season to start well and then fall off when there wasn't really a reason for it, bar one or two injuries, but he barely had those players at the beginning of the season. And by the way, that I'm still to this day wouldn't be Poch in. I would have still sacked him. I just would have hired better.
The problem is I can't tell you. Here is the problem. To analyze the Chelsea season, to be honest, it's not on the position only because of how you get like the point. It's very packed there. Like you cannot tell me that one day you can finish 7th and you tell me, Maresca shit. And then because of the other team losing a game and you winning one game and you finish 3rd, for example, magically, which actually realistically can happen. And you tell me now Maresca is great. We need to analyze Chelsea different than the position in the league. And I know that people want to make it black or white. It's not. Because if you want to build a future for this club, if you want to build a future for this squad, you need to actually be able to analyze the season the right way, not based on the position in the league. Because at the current moment, you are 2 points behind 3rd. But also, you are only 3 points above 9th.
How many wins is it in the last 12? And who's that win? Who of the wins come against is an interesting one to look into. Because
I'm looking at the fixtures now. But before you do that, so Staffy, Brighton in 8th are 43 points. Chelsea in 5th are 46. Nottingham Forest
all the way down
3rd.
to Villa in 10th. All the way down to Villa in 10th.
I was shocked to find out Villa in 10th. I thought they were much higher.
So here is the problem. I don't think we can analyze Chelsea's season based on the position in the league as much as you cannot analyze Fulham or Bournemouth, because Bournemouth can finish 5th, 6th, or 10th.
I think this
It's
season,
not-
I agree with you. I think this season there's gonna be a lot of there's so many false positions right now. Just
Thank
because of how close
you.
everyone is. Like the fact that you can go 3 points, so 3 points in one win, you can generally go from you had a
5
good season to
positions,
oh my
5
god, you had a
positions.
horrible season.
You have
That
a
is not
horrible
the-
season.
Yeah, you can't look at football.
Exactly.
That way. I
Thank
agree
you.
with
Someone under the
No,
problem
I
is
get where you're coming from.
when I say this to the people, they say, no, if he finished 5th, he's great. I'm like, no, but if he finished 5th and it could have been 1 point and he could have been 8th and you could have said, oh, it's a horrible season. Okay, I can't
Well,
analyze
a
it
couple
like
years
this.
ago, that happened with us. We went to the last game of the season, and if West Ham won, they would have gotten 6th. They would have gotten Europa League. United would have been out of Europe. West Ham
Completely.
lost, and we lost, so we didn't even win. But when we finished 6th, and then we went to Europe, and it completely changed the way our season was looked at, just because of an outsider decision.
But that's not
I
how
hear
you
what you're
should
saying.
value football. You only value football like this if you're winning the title. You get my point? That is what, because one game can win you the title or not.
Oh
That's
yeah, I
one
only
game.
won it because this team lost. Fuck it, who gives a fuck? I won the title. I
Yeah,
get what you mean.
exactly. I won the title, so it doesn't matter. Like I look
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
season as a winner or a loser. But analyzing the season. So Dan, I just checked. You won a lot of games, Dan. No, you didn't. Actually,
No, in the
in
last
the past,
last
1, 2,
13
3,
games.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games. You won only against a team that I can't Morecambe.
Morecambe.
Okay, Morecambe. You won against Wolves, West Ham,
Yeah.
and Southampton. So you only won against teams in the bottom 5.
Yeah, and the
Then-
stats are 21 goals scored, 21 conceded, 5 wins, 3 draws, 5 losses, meaning that Chelsea on the current form table of the last 13 games I've got here are 13th.
Okay. That is what we're talking about. It was the push in the beginning of the season.
It was
that is why
massively.
That is why the analysis of the game is ridiculous. Is ridiculous. Like,
And I think if you analyze what's happening in a lot of these games, there has been issues where the players haven't been good enough. Like Jackson wasn't scoring when he was fit. Now he's injured. It's exactly the
Yeah.
same situation. We've got injuries. There's no denying that. When Lavia was available, Chelsea probably looked like a better team. Cole Palmer obviously has been putting stuff on a plate and no one's been there to score it. And now his form's dropped probably because his confidence dropped. But there's also been times when Maresca has clearly been outdone by other managers tactically.
and fucked up the second half, for example.
Yeah, and
Like, completely fucking it
first
up.
half, the second half is a huge issue at Chelsea right now. Every second half, I feel like there's an issue. That was an issue under Poch, so maybe there's a mentality issue here that hasn't been addressed. It's a real mix, but ultimately, that probably means that the manager is going to be responsible for the majority of that. 1 or 2 games being on the players is acceptable. For the majority of it, though, it might be that the manager is picking players that aren't doing their job or aren't good enough, or he's being, completely outmanaged by managers who are considered inferior coaches potentially by Premier League teams.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm like, come on now. It has to be something that has to be done at Chelsea that is different, because even if you get Europe next season and the board keeps assigning people like this way, I don't think this is going to work. I genuinely don't think this is going to work.
Don't forget,
Gonna
this
go
is
backwards.
a manager that ultimately, for a long period of time, was able to switch out his team for a full 11 switch between European football and this. Ultimately, when it's got to the point where he's not been able to do that because we haven't had Conference League, ultimately Chelsea have got worse. So there's been an issue there that he's been able to be okay when he could switch the team out and give them a week's rest. But as soon as the going got a little bit tougher and the rest wasn't there for these players for a week, there's an issue.
You play Copenhagen on Thursday, right?
We do, yeah. Away.
Yes. Away. I think
Thursday?
you'll go through.
That's a tougher game than
You're
it.
gonna play
it
Holland's
looks
brothers,
like,
so be careful.
His what?
His brothers, Holland's twin brothers.
Oh, really?
He has 2 twins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
he's
okay.
not the twin; they're twins. They play for Copenhagen.
But yeah, another thing for Chelsea that's massive as well is that there is no doubt that Chelsea are weaker off the back of January than they were going into the January.
Your
transfer
squad
window.
has gotten weaker, 100%.
Yeah, we let go of 5 players. We've got injuries, and we ultimately only recruited 1 young midfielder from French football.
You're
Amugu, maybe? So,
Yeah. You're
No,
very
not
lucky
me.
that you're away from Anthony or Real Betis side until you reach the final.
Well,
Very
yeah,
lucky.
they could
Right
potentially
now,
get
it's
them
crazy,
later
bro.
on in the competition, and them or Fiorentina, obviously. Look, Chelsea have to win the Conference League. I think that's an absolute must for Maresca. If Maresca fails to win that, I actually think he'll be sacked. I don't think there'll be any
You
room
think
for
they will
manoeuvre.
sack him if he
If
doesn't
he
win?
doesn't win the Conference League, yeah. I think the Conference League is something they're expecting to win very easily. I think they're actually, the owners may feel a bit of embarrassment if they don't win that competition, because the money that they've spent is more than what all of the squads combined in the start of the Conference League cost. So I think they would feel a little bit of embarrassment. And there would be serious questions if Chelsea don't win the Conference League. Do I think we don't? I think we still win it. I have to have some confidence here. We are better than 90% of the teams in that.
Do you even
competition.
guarantee that you win against Copenhagen? They're top of the league.
No,
And then-
we've lost to Ipswich this season. We've lost to teams that I would say are probably on par around sort of Copenhagen's level, and they've caused issues for us. But at the same time,
What the
I
fuck?
think we bring a fear factor to the Conference League that other teams don't in that
Yeah.
competition.
I believe so. I believe you. I believe you. Well, listen, people. There's no time to talk about the Saliba deal unless anyone want to address that, because it looks like he's staying. But listen, I want to appreciate everyone that joined us, guys. It's a short show. Tomorrow now is we're back with actual football. Arsenal playing the Champions League. Believe it or not, against PSV away from home. That would be absolutely phenomenal and
What
fantastic.
happens if they don't win that, Mo?
What do you mean?
What happens if they don't win that?
Nothing. I don't think anything happened.
Nothing is gonna happen if they don't beat
Nothing.
PSV.
No. They're gonna say injuries and nothing.
You mean
I don't believe
Arsenal?
that-
If Arsenal don't win it,
Yeah.
no, I think it'll be safe, especially if they get their new sporting director. I think they'll continue with Arteta for a little bit.
Thank you so much, Dan. This sporting director. Hold me on. I wanted to speak about this, but if you guys have a little bit 15 minutes. The sporting director that is coming to Arsenal worked for Atletico Madrid, bro.
Oh, did they already choose who it is? Because I didn't know.
Based on Fabrizio, based on David Ornstein, based on
What's his
everything.
name?
Berta.
Andrea something?
Yeah, that is the guy. If they get that guy, it's an actual statement signing for, like, we're getting someone that will actually take the power of Arteta's hand. He will acquire a lot of people, he'll acquire players. He will actually be very good in the behind the scenes. And that is why I think this will make the fans forget about this season completely. Completely, by the way. I promise you,
But I know what you mean.
most of the fans, apart from Lee, Northside, Capo.
Damn, so
these guys.
Arteta's really gonna get a
They
second
won't.
chance.
They won't forget about it, but it will just sort of push it to the side, and they'll write it
like
off with
cover over it,
injuries.
yeah.
Right? They'll go like, "Oh no, we just had injuries, and we didn't have a sporting director in January. That once we got Berta in, we knew if he's busy in the summer, I think they'll forget about this season."
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree, and that's the whole point. That it's like they're gonna say, now let's make Arteta cook under this real sporting director, and I promise you, Staffy, he will get another 3 years.
It'll be. And do you know what? If it does work out, it'll be the only reason we didn't win the Premier League against Manchester City is because Edu wasn't good enough as a sporting director, and it wasn't.
Yes.
And
So
that
it's
will
more
be
goal
that'll be the
shifting.
notion. But there is a very fair point that actually, as a sporting director, if Edu has been in control, he has ultimately not done a good enough job, in my opinion, at Arsenal. Because I've said for so many months now, their recruitment for the last since summer to summer and now this January just hasn't been good enough in my eyes. I think the last good window they had was the Havertz, Rice, Timber one. But even then, I look back at the Havertz signing and think that wasn't the right signing at that exact moment in time, Havertz. They could have spent that 60 million on Isak or an out-and-out striker. And then if they bought Havertz in this January or last January, people would have been like, oh, that's a great addition to the team, because now we're adding in some more goals into the team in Havertz. They should have gone for a striker out and out early doors before they got Havertz, I think.
My only challenge to this is, because I look at it, I usually don't believe in former people taking over a new rebuild. No matter how good or bad you've been, I think it's always when there's new blood and new ideas coming in, I always feel like it's always more refreshing to just bring in a new person to take over that project. And I just don't see Arteta being here next year under this new sporting director. Is
you
it going to
think-
be
you
good?
think he
I
gets
think it's
sacked?
actually going to ruin a lot of what he
Hold
built
on.
over the last few years.
You
Because
think that
No.
the new sport? Can I understand this? The new sporting director, you think, is the new vision away from Arteta?
No, so what I'm saying is when you bring
Oh,
in a
this
new
is
sporting
interesting.
director, he's coming in with no ideas.
You think they're gonna
He's
clash? You
generally
think
a
they're gonna
different
clash?
person. So
Wow.
I think you match him with a new. It's just I think it should be a completely new slate. So new sporting director. I think
A new
'cause
sporting
think of it this way, Mo.
direction. Is that what
Yeah.
you mean? Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Because you're moving into a new
I
direction.
never thought about it like this, actually. You know what?
think about it
Until
this
you
way, Mo.
said it, I never thought about it like
But
this.
think about it this way, Mo. He will have to
Wow.
carry the burden of what Arteta has did to most of these fans over the last few years for not winning a trophy. So he will get judged if they bring in a new sporting director and a new coach. I promise you, most of these fans will just accept it by open arms. The issue is right now that all the Arteta outers are still going to be pissed about him being here, so they'll have less leeway for the new sporting director. So he will be paying for a crime that he didn't commit. That's all I'm saying.
But why
And
are
the
you
guy that's saying
assuming it
stuff
will
if
be
you
a
don't know
crime?
anything?
Why
It's
are
my
you?
opinion, you idiot. It's an opinion. Of course, I don't know. It's an opinion. That's
Why
I'm
do you?
here.
Why? Why?
I'm here to share an opinion, you moron.
Oh, I got chat. Forget the chat, please. Forget.
It's been a while since I said this to chat, so I have to say that.
Please stop. I actually think that the sporting director is just going to work hand in hand with Arteta. He's under contract, but I hear what you're saying.
Do you think, Mo, he's below Arteta in the pecking order?
Fuck no.
No,
You
I
ask
don't.
the question
I
then.
don't know you.
Are you
Wait,
serious?
that's a great question then. Because
I
you know
think
what is the
Arteta
myth?
is more powerful than this sporting director potentially.
The myth is that Arteta's picking the sporting director.
Yeah, I do wonder
So
that.
even if that's not true, a lot of people are gonna. Dan, I'm not gonna lie. That's the best remark you made all day.
I wonder. I do wonder whether or not he's below Arteta, and Arteta obviously wants someone that will work in his direction.
Wow. If he's under Arteta, it is fucked. Again.
There you go. So maybe that's why Arteta shouldn't be here.
You just don't know. Like there's
can we-
potential that Arteta could clash with, like what Staffy's saying. They could clash. They could have different ideas and ideologies around this. The only
Guys, but these are all
positive-
assumptions. Can we just assume this? Can we just say these are all assumptions?
The
Oh
average
yeah, of
person should
course they are.
understand
That was a question. I was just wondering whether or not we think he could potentially be above him or not in the pecking order. I don't know, but ultimately, I feel like
I actually
Arteta-
don't think a guy coming from Atletico Madrid, Dan. That is my opinion. To answer your question simply, I don't think a guy coming from Atletico Madrid that worked with Simeone in a big organization like Atletico Madrid, acquiring these big players, these massive names, will be coming in to work
Okay, let me ask you something, right?
under a manager like Mikel Arteta that is now
There's
being
no guarantees,
labeled.
Mo, because
Hold on.
I don't
I'm
think-
using. I don't know. You don't know. I'm
wasn't-
trying to be.
okay.
I don't know.
He
You
wasn't
don't know.
above
Nobody knows.
Simeone, though. He wasn't above Simeone. Simeone's getting paid nearly like 20 million a year. He wouldn't have been above
No, but-
Simeone.
No, but Simeone getting paid higher than him, it doesn't mean that he's above him. The guy
I think-
is still.
I don't know. I think Simeone's got more money in the bank. As
What was your
even just
question? What were you going to ask me?
me? Do I think?
Yeah.
Do I think Arteta is above him in the pecking order?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
That is my answer is very simple. I don't think so. He is going to be.
It's a
the-
question, Mo, is my whole point.
No, but
It
I
is
think
not clear.
I genuinely think this is going to be the new face. He's going to take the pressure of Arteta's shoulders a little bit. He's going to take the pressure off the Kroenke's shoulder. I am actually, the fact that it's David Ornstein tweeting about it, Fabrizio Romano, and all the Arsenal PR is that they are trying to have a new face for the fans, to have a new era. You get my point? A new era, right? Arteta's the coach now. We're going to get you the players you want. I genuinely believe that this is going to be a new era for Arsenal. And I believe I'm not sure if it's the right way to start with Mikel Arteta, as Staffy said. Sorry, with Mikel Arteta or without Mikel Arteta, as Staffy said. Because normally what Staffy's saying is correct. Normally new sporting directors like new directions and new ways of managing things. And if Arteta has that much power at the club, maybe the new sporting director will say, no, I need a new manager. And by the way, just for the people that don't know, the owners are not the people that choose the coach. The sporting directors at the club, same as Ineos, can actually gather together and say, we have decided to part way with Arteta, as at Chelsea as well. The sporting directors at Chelsea can decide tomorrow to sack Maresca. Of course, they consult the owners.
But they were there, like Arteta's there first, and for a couple of seasons has been doing a good job. That's what makes me. I understand what you're saying is that he could choose, but at the same time, Arsenal are obviously happy with the direction they're going in under Arteta.
Yes.
Is he just? I wonder if he's just going to come into work alongside Arteta. That actually he wouldn't be able to make that decision. He might be able to recommend it, but I don't think he's going to be in a position to recommend that Arteta is removed and it be backed. I feel like the board above him are going to have to make that decision.
Can I actually tell you something, which is it's to Tevin's point in the chat as well. I actually believe they would not have signed the guy if he told him, I want to change Arteta. The Cronkies are so in bed with Arteta that I don't believe that they would have told him to come and have an interview unless they told him, listen, you have to align your visions with Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe
that's exactly what I think. That's
yeah,
exactly what I think.
now I believe.
So you're
now
proving our
put,
point, Mo. Okay.
By the way,
Right.
that isn't necessarily a bad thing. That isn't
it's
necessarily a
not
bad
him working under Arteta, guys. Why are we assuming that this is
thing.
him?
Okay, do you think a bit more different? But it's almost like I believe Pep is above the sporting director at Manchester City in a way. In a way, I think Pep.
No,
is above.
Khaldoon is the one who runs the club, not Pep.
Okay, yeah, no, the other guy that coming from Sporting Lisbon.
Okay, Tiki,
And-
whatever. Tixi.
Tixi was there. I still believe Pep.
A new
would have-
guy.
Yeah, I feel like they almost aren't above. Whereas I believe that the guys at Chelsea are above Maresca. I don't believe that the direction of like Manchester City and Arsenal, the sporting director is above the manager. I don't believe that they are. I think they work alongside each other. One will have a role in recruitment. One will have a role in the
coaching.
wages. Yeah, and then the other one works on the actual football side of things, the day-to-day footballing side of the. I think they work more as a team. Whereas I think there's a clear level of power at Chelsea. For
Someone asked a question before. Why, if they're working together, why does it always have to be a conspiracy? It's actually a very.
Yeah, that's what I was
very
saying.
good
I don't think it really matters. I just wondered whether or not Arteta was like going to be having an input in who the sporting director would be because he'd be working with him.
But I have to say something. Actually, we aren't putting a conspiracy, but normally Staffy is correct. Normally, new sporting directors like to, if they are actually these sporting directors, they like to have it their own way. They like to actually have a. You're muted, Staff. You're muted.
Sorry. I said that's one thing we accused Ineos of doing wrong. Obviously, not to mention, I'm not comparing Ten Hag to Arteta. Arteta, even though he didn't win, I think he's done a much better job. But they made a mistake of coming in, bringing a new project, a new idea, but they didn't get in a new guy in the summer to be the face of that project. And it faced a lot of backlash. And they ended up getting sacked in 2 months because of the results weren't what they wanted. Now, I'm not saying that will happen to Arteta because I don't think in 2 months of the season, next season, Arsenal are going to be sitting 12th or 13th like United were. But it will carry that some type of new burden where it's like we just want a new idea, and that a new idea has to come with a new coach. It's just what I think. Like, that's my belief. There's no.
Actually, you know what?
But
Now, then put it in my head. I actually believe that this guy is going to come in and he's going to bring Arteta players, good players. And it's going to start with signing new contract with someone like Saliba. Like, it's going to start with giving Saka a new contract or something like this, protecting their assets. And I think they're going to go and get.
And this guy is obviously like very set in his. He's able to work with stubborn managers. If he's worked with Simeone, he's going to be able to be told, "I'm not doing that," and then he'll have to respect it and work in a way that aligns with a very stubborn manager. He's been with Simeone for what, 10 years? I'm not sure the exact.
I don't know how long, but it looks like he has got him. From the list that I've seen online, these are players that are over years and years. It's not like one window or two. So I believe he has been there for a while. So we'll see how it goes. This last super chat before we end the show, the guy saying, question, Mo, did Berta want to have Simeone for 10 years? If so, do you think Berta could do that with Arteta keeping him for a long term.
That's a good point, actually.
Do you guys know how many league titles Simeone has won?
One under
think
him, I
two.
think.
No, two.
One under Berta.
Oh, under the guy or just under?
Is that what you mean? If not, it is two, yeah.
Under Berta, one.
Yeah,
right?
one. Like under
You know-
with Luis Suarez.
Yeah. Yeah, the one with Luis
And
Suarez.
I don't know if he's even had a Champions League runner-up in that time. I'm not sure.
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, he has. It was the 2014 run. Twice.
No, so Berta
Twice.
wasn't there until 2017.
Oh, all right. So they won
Yeah,
one
so
league
anything
title
from
on.
2017 onwards is what Berta's obviously been involved in.
Okay. So if Arteta stays 10 more years at Arsenal and he win one league title, and if Arsenal are okay with this, I just I just can't. I can't
Maybe they
deal with
think
that.
Arteta's the new Simeone. Yeah, we'll be here for a
Well, the
decade.
thing is,
Hold
right,
on.
is that
Do you
if
guys think that Simeone is a success? Okay, here's the difference.
Mo,
Here is the difference.
I know what
Simeone-
you're about to say.
No.
Yes, he is.
Simeone is playing against Real Madrid and Barcelona that historically have dominated La Liga. Simeone, what he's done at Atletico Madrid is a good enough job for Atletico Madrid as a club and the resources they have in comparison with someone who had Cristiano Ronaldo, Bale, Benzema, Messi, Suarez, Neymar, and all of this, right? He built a team with all due respect, with Koke, Carrasco, and these two champions, like what happened before, yes?
And he disrupted it twice in like 10 to 15 years. So,
And
yeah.
by the way, they sold some of their best players over the years, by the way.
Yeah.
Starting from
They've sold
Aguero.
every good striker they've had. Falcao, Jackson Martinez, like you name it, the players they've had. Jackson Martinez actually come in, didn't he, from Porto? But
So
yeah,
do
like
Courtois, the
Diego
best
Costa,
goalkeeper.
Courtois, obviously went back on loan.
Yeah.
They've sold loads as well, but they have recruited
Godin.
really well.
To you, Mo.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That I mean is that if Arsenal have that, if there is a manager that has the career of Simeone at Arsenal, that is not a success. Like it's not a major success.
No, I think at Arsenal it would be, because I think Arsenal
2 leagues in 10 years is not
Yeah.
success for them, Mo.
I
That
think
is good.
that would be success for Arsenal. you know?
good. 2 leagues. It's not 10 years, by the way. Stuff.
I mean,
It's,
you look
it's
at
over 10
Liverpool as a
years.
successful team, and they've had one.
It's over that. By the way, it's
Yeah,
over
but how
that
long
10
was
years.
Klopp? Yeah, Staffy, that's right. How long was Klopp at
Okay,
Liverpool?
10 years. 9,
9 years,
8.
I think.
9
9
years,
years.
and he got one league title, and obviously he got a
Yeah.
Champions League. But I think that's a success if Arteta was to be there for 10 years and win one league title and constantly challenge every year, be around it. You know, maybe have like
They're not
one
challenging
blip.
every year, but be around it. Yeah, but they
Yeah.
are normally
Like
around it.
they're always in the discussion. You always go, right, where's La Liga? Oh, Atletico are only 5 points off the top, but Barca
Okay,
and
I
Real
hear you.
Madrid
I
are
hear
level.
you
You know what I
guys.
mean? Like if Arteta kept Arsenal in that sort of similar sort of level for 10 years, like that's not bad as long as he wins something. Imagine if they finish second for the next
For 10 years.
I just think two
That'd be
leagues in
crazy.
10 years. I think that's good.
Yeah, but Simeone won stuff, right? And he was restricted to an extent in terms of spending.
You would have
But
had a
he
couple
also-
Champions Leagues if it wasn't for
He also was
freaking-
able to buy. I mean, they bought Griezmann back from Barca for a lot of money, and they spent a lot of money on João Felix. So they have spent money.
Yeah, okay. So 2 leagues in 10 years is good enough. Well, fine.
Mo,
think it
let's
is.
not look at what City did and think this is normal. Like this is
Yeah,
just that's absurd. It shouldn't happen again for a while.
Yeah.
There's no.
You're right,
I'll tell you what,
actually. Yes.
if
your
someone
point.
comes into the next 10 years and wins the amount of leagues that City won, that actually diminishes what City did because now it seems normal.
How many
That
leagues
doesn't
have
make
you
City
got in
any
10
special
years,
anymore.
Mo? Like, how many have Inter got? 3? 4?
2, just 2.
2. See, I think that's acceptable.
No, but hold on. You know, once we reach the top, okay, so here's what happened. We were in a massive banter era.
Yeah.
And then once we reached the top, we were asking the manager every year to win the league, every year. And we won it we came second under Conte. That was the first time actually challenging, then in 10 years. We won it the year after. He left.
Yeah.
Inzaghi came, bottled the league once to AC Milan, bottled it again to Napoli. And we were about, okay, this is it for you. It's either you win or you bust. He won the league. If Inzaghi doesn't win it this season with Inter, but he failed. 4 years with 1 league title at Inter is a failure. But there is context to this, and I have to be honest here. We are the best team in Italy, squad-wise. Arsenal aren't. So you get my point. Like,
No, I do get that.
That's the point.
We are the best team. And that's what the thing. If you have a manager for 10 years and you don't reach a point when you're the best team in the country with that much resources, which is Arsenal have resources, we cannot just sit here and say that Arsenal don't have resources. Okay.
I mean, context will apply when we look at everyone around them because they have resources. So does City, so does Liverpool, so does everyone else, basically. So it's good. I mean, we have to wait 10 years from now, I guess, to talk about this.
No, we're 5 years in. We're 5 years in with Arteta.
No, I thought he meant 10 years with
6 then. Is it the next year?
Oh,
6
maybe.
6.
No, I think Arteta's tenure.
Five.
Although, because Simeone's had different sporting directors for the tenure that he's been at Atletico. So
okay,
I think,
so if we're judging by the manager,
I think you have to judge, obviously, like the manager in that period of time. I think if Arteta was there for 10 years and won 1 league, I think that I don't know if it's acceptable. It's obviously if he was there for 5 years and had won 1 league title, would definitely.
He doesn't get a reset. I know what you mean because the way I said it, it sounds like I'm giving him a reset, and that shouldn't be the case. But do
you see what I mean? He doesn't get a reset because he got a new sporting director. If anything, there's more pressure on him actually under a new sporting director for points you previously raised. But I think he would always be considered never the most expected person in the league to be winning the league every season because I think there's always going to be a Liverpool, there's always going to be a City, there's always going to be a team that I think has a little bit more than Arsenal going into a season. I think that's been the case. I think that's been the case for the last 20 years.
Always.
Even when Arsene Wenger was winning the title, right, there was always Manchester United. There was always United that Wenger would have to pit to the post to win it. He was never favourite. Very rarely were they favourite to win. Maybe the year they went invincible, they might have been favourites, but I'm not entirely sure if they were or they weren't.
Yeah, even the one in '98, they were way behind. Actually, they were way behind United, if I'm not mistaken. So they weren't favourites. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Tomorrow's the Champions League. We'll see how it works for Arsenal. I believe that Arsenal will win against PSV. Can I ask you guys a question before we end? Who do you think will win, Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid, knowing that the second leg is in the Wanda Metropolitana? Very important.
Ooh, Atleti.
Very important that the second leg is at the Wanda Metropolitana.
Atleti will beat Real Madrid and then eliminate Arsenal.
Okay, I think Real Madrid win the first leg by enough goals that maybe losing at the Wanda still gets them through.
Ooh.
All right. Okay. PSG Liverpool.
They just lost, what's his name? Danny Ceballos, and he's been arguably their best midfielder.
Yeah. Quickly, Liverpool PSG.
Oh, I think PSG. I've just got a feeling.
Fuck me, bro. Why everyone now think that PSG will actually knock out Liverpool?
I think it's going to be Liverpool, but we're haters, bro. We got to go for PSG. I'm a hater, bro. I got to go for PSG. I'm sorry.
No, but really, who do you think? Really?
I think it would be Liverpool, but I have to go for
Liverpool. Okay. Because I believe the second leg at Anfield, Liverpool will go through. But anyway, we'll see. It's just one day. We'll see.
Second leg in Anfield, bro, is always cash money, bro.
Exactly. It's just easier, bro. If they just bring it within 1 goal, I think Liverpool will win it, bro. 1 goal. But if Liverpool lose 2+ goal margins, they're out. We'll see you guys soon. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I got 3 shows tomorrow. And we're out, people. Thank you. Dan, appreciate you so much. Channel in the description as well, along with Tom, Rory, Staffy TV. Watch along yesterday for Staffy TV. You got to go and watch that. You got to make someone do the highlights for you. Watch along, actually. Staffy. It's actually
I'll probably hire someone.
Yes.
We're doing a WWE Raw watch along today, guys. Forget United, guys. We don't care about United. We care about heel Cena. So today, 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern time. No, I don't know what's that.
That's what we were.
I do UK time now, even though I live in Egypt. So, you got any videos released then?
No, not at the moment. I feel like it's very quiet for Chelsea. So maybe we'll get something out. But
super quiet. Super quiet. Big up, people. Thank you, everyone. We actually have 300 votes and only 200 likes. I will see you guys soon. We're out of here, people.